Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Friday, January 28th, 2022, and we're here with the Wrestling Wrap-Up. The Wrestling Wrap-Up brings you a lot of news in one easy-to-watch video, and boy, is today a very big news day, as we are a little over 24 hours removed, or I'm not removed, that's the wrong word. I've been running 1,000 miles a minute all morning so far, and I've been up for 4.5, 5 hours now, going nuts, crazy, so much stuff to do today. But with that, we're less than 24 hours, well, no, a little over 24 hours away from tomorrow's Royal Rumble event in St. Louis, Missouri. We've got a lot of things to talk about pertaining to the Royal Rumble, whether that is multiple different surprise entrants in the Women's Rumble, and I do want to state that's the first thing we're going to talk about. No, never mind. You know what? I'm going to change this up. Because if you guys want to stick around but not hear any possible Rumble spoilers, I will save that for last then. Now thinking about it, I was going to talk about that first, but in case people want to dip out and not hear any possible names that could show up in the Rumble tomorrow, I'll wait to do that one. I will wait for the end of the final story to do that one, but we will talk about possible surprises in the Women's Royal Rumble match, WWE reaching out to Jeff Hardy. A current champion's been cleared, and a possible big match for WrestleMania. As like I stated, this is the Wrestling Wrap-Up, a handful of news brought to you in one easy-to-watch video. I do want to say thank you for joining us here, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and twitter.com/PW Unlimited. Remember, if you are watching on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can help us out by hitting that donate button down below and donating to us, and also using that to get your questions, comments, and concerns in as well. Plus, you could donate Twitch bits in the live chat on Twitch. Also, remember, you can subscribe to the channel on Twitch one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, just like Rosario29248 recently did, or if you got Amazon Prime because you're paying old Uncle Jeff Bezos for that, whether that's Prime Video or Prime Shipping, you got an Amazon Prime Gaming account. You take your Amazon Prime account, you take your Twitch account, you link them together, bada bing, bada boom, Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games. The free game right now is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which will only be free for another, 4 days, 3 days, 1, 2, 3 more days. Claim it now. That game is only free for 3 more days before they put new games up for free for the month of February. Also, you can get stuff, in-app stuff for different games like Grand Theft Auto Online, Valorant, New World, Fall Guys, and more. But the one thing that never changes is that you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to us right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But on the flip side, if you're watching over on YouTube, you can help us out over there with a super chat or a super sticker donation. All super chats do get read live on the air, and you can hit that join button down below to get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Plus, if you want to get all of that, but directly support us better, well, then head over to patreon.com/PW Unlimited. One other way you can support us is by going to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store, whether that is through the Epic Game Store launcher on your computer, or if you're playing Fortnite or playing Rocket League, and in those games, whether that's on your Switch, your Xbox, or your PlayStation, whenever you purchase something, it'll say, you got a creator code? Then you will have a creator code, whether that's getting V-Bucks for Fortnite, skins for Rocket League, buying a brand new game off the Epic Game Store, like Rainbow Six Extraction or God of War. Even if you're claiming the free games, put in the code PW Unlimited to support us. We get a little bit of that change. Not much, but it's something. Some of that you're spending will end up going to us. But with that, we've got a lot of news to talk about. As the first thing I want to talk about comes from the Wrestling Observer, and it has to do with WWE realizing, oh crap, Jeff Hardy can go to AEW, and they can reunite the Hardys, and that could be big, and we don't want that. According to Dave Meltzer, in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer wrote the following regarding WWE actually reaching out to Jeff Hardy, as Meltzer stated. John Laurinaitis, the head of WWE Talent Relations, reached out to Jeff Hardy a few weeks ago and wanted to get him, see if he'd come back to WWE. And in doing so, even put a 2022 Hall of Fame induction on the table for Hardy. Ultimately, Hardy would turn this down and then go on to ask for the results of the drug test that he apparently was fired off of. It was stated that Hardy knew that test would not come back positive for any recreational drugs, but yet they still haven't given him the results. Meltzer states that it took Hardy and his wife 6 weeks to get results back. I don't know if that means they did their own drug test or if that is the eventual drug test WWE did. Meltzer did not clarify that, just stating the line, quote, "It took Hardy and his wife 6 weeks to get the results back." So I guess that's from WWE, not 100% sure. But the reason they reached out to Jeff is that the feeling right now that this is one guy that they don't want in AEW because he can reunite with his brother Matt. We can get the Hardy Boys, and it would be massive for All Elite Wrestling. And then they can have a lot of great matches over there with teams like the Young Bucks, FTR, Santana and Ortiz, Pentagon and Phoenix, the House of Black, and so forth. Now, if Jeff were to go to AEW, he can't till mid-March. March 9th is when his WWE no-compete does expire. So after March 9th, which is March 9th is a Wednesday, he can appear for All Elite Wrestling. And when's the Revolution pay-per-view? AEW Revolution 2022 is March 6th. So he can't appear for Revolution. And so if Jeff Hardy were to go to AEW, March 16th, Wednesday, March 16th, would be the day he can go, unless, and I don't think, let's see, AEW schedule, unless the 11th is a live Rampage, the 16th will be, let's see, AEW event schedule, March, do they have anything March 6th, 9th? Okay, so the 9th, they are filming both Dynamite and Rampage in Florida. Then they will be in San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio, Texas, March 16th is the first time that Jeff Hardy can appear for AEW. So he turned down WWE, even with them saying, we'll put you in the Hall of Fame if you come back. He said no. Now, there's no 100% certainty that he goes to All Elite Wrestling, but that's what everyone would assume. That's what I would assume. I would think if he still wants to wrestle, he goes to AEW, reunites with Jeff or Matt, and that would be huge. The Hardy Boys in AEW. I mean, that would be one of the biggest things AEW's ever had. And no offense to anybody else there, but the Hardy Boys together, Matt and Jeff together, whether that is straight up Matt and Jeff Hardy Boys, or they end up going the route of Broken Matt and Brother Nero. That would be massive for All Elite Wrestling. And many do expect him. Meltzer does state here that, where was it? The belief is that unless he goes back to WWE, which he has turned them down, all things point to him going to AEW. I do want to say thank you to Silent by Deadly for the super sticker donation. Really do appreciate that. So, excuse me. Jeff Hardy was offered to return to WWE just less like a month after they fired him for possibly failing a drug test. We don't even know what the result is of that drug test and that incident that did take place at that live event in Texas. So we'll keep following the story. Got a ways to go till Jeff can do anything, not per se, because if there is the off chance that he decides, yeah, never mind, I will go back to WWE, he can do that at any time. But anything outside of WWE wrestling related, we'll have to wait till at least March 9th. But it looks like for AEW, March 16th is that date. But again, we'll follow this story. We'll see where it goes. I doubt he goes back to WWE. We'll have more once that becomes available. But Jesus Christ, what are they thinking? They really think they can go out here and say, oh, Jeff Hardy is fired by the company because questionable actions at a live event and this and that, and try to slander his name and whatnot. And they think he's just going to be like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll come back. I'm going to put him in the Hall of Fame. Sure. Jeff will go in the Hall of Fame eventually, whether that is by himself or with Matt. Yes. But it ain't happening this year. I highly, 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 highly doubt that happens. But speaking of somebody, I guess you could say coming back to WWE, he hasn't really been gone, but he couldn't wrestle. That's the Intercontinental Champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. So Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura has not wrestled a match for WWE since December 18th. Rick Boogs then revealed on Fox Sports' Out of Character podcast that Nakamura has actually been out of action with a broken hand. He's had a hand injury since that match on December 18th. Now, since then, we haven't seen Nakamura do much, except for last week when he finally did get physical. Yet, yesterday, and I'm going to pull the image up here for you guys, Nakamura did post on his Instagram, well, he's cleared to go. His hand is good. His hand is good. He can wrestle. If I can find the image here, I will pull it up. Why can't I find it? There we go. There we go. You have this image here. Switch the screen so you guys can see it. That's not the right screen. Shinsuke Nakamura did post this image on his Instagram stories yesterday, and it states, officially, I was cleared to fight. And we see the x-ray from his hand showing that hand's good. So it is good to see that the Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura has been cleared to get back into the ring, as he states, to fight. And we'll see when he gets that match with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is the current #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. And that's why we haven't had the match. Many people have been asking, well, they said that Sami gets a title shot. Why haven't we got it? Well, this is why. Because Nakamura has been out injured. Now that he's cleared, a couple questions. When do we get the Sami Zayn match? And will he be in the Royal Rumble? There are still, as of this recording, 11:23 a.m. Pacific, there are still 8 slots left in the men's Royal Rumble match. So we'll see if Nakamura does get added to that match. I thought it would have been cool to see Boogs in the match. They haven't announced Boogs yet for the match either, but Nakamura's cleared. That's always a good sign to see somebody got cleared. They're no longer hurt. They're no longer injured. And as he stated, he's cleared to fight. Nakamura ain't cleared to wrestle or have a match. No, he said he's cleared to fight. But speaking of people getting cleared, someone else that may be cleared, that's Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey has not been in WWE since April of 2019, when she lost the main event of WrestleMania and got pinned to Becky Lynch. Ronda Rousey then went on to do some television stuff where she got hurt on the show. I think it was 911. Almost lost her finger. Then she got pregnant. Back in September, she had a baby, and we've been hearing all the news that, hey, Ronda's coming back. She could be back as early as the Royal Rumble, but they want her at least for WrestleMania. Now, as far as Ronda does go working WrestleMania, we don't know. We know a little bit of what could be going down there, but we know that I assume she's scheduled to be in St. Louis because her makeup artist, her personal makeup artist, is scheduled to be in St. Louis tomorrow and Cincinnati Monday for Monday Night Raw. Why fly in? And this is WWE's got it on their books for the last 3 weeks. Why fly in her personal makeup artist if she's not going to be there? We also do know, per PWU Insider, that WWE officials actually went to Ronda's house in LA to meet with her last week to see about her coming back. So all roads are inevitable that Ronda Rousey is coming back, even if it's just for a short period of time. Whether that is just from now to Mania or the remainder of 2022 is to be seen. But Dave Meltzer did give a little more on this in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, stating that if Rousey is in the Rumble, there's nothing that will generate more mainstream interest and media, I guess you could say, publicity for WWE than Rousey winning, which is very true. Hardcore fans would probably be against that, but it would get a lot of eyes on the company from outside media sources that don't normally cover WWE. Now, the one way that the fans wouldn't be upset with Ronda winning, I assume, this is just my opinion, if she dumps Charlotte Flair at the end. If the final two are Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, and she eliminates Charlotte to win, fans will go nuts because, well, she eliminated Charlotte. Anybody else will go, boo, it's Ronda Rousey. But right now, according to Meltzer in The Observer, he states that the direction for Rousey is Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. So as of right now, Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey is, I don't want to say 100% scheduled or planned, but tentatively in the works for WrestleMania, which makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. Becky Lynch was the last person to pin and defeat Ronda Rousey. Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey were supposed to meet at the 2018 Survivor Series, and that didn't happen because, well, Becky got her nose broke by Nia Jax. And it's a match people have wanted to see. One-on-one, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch. They stated we were going to get it at WrestleMania. Then they shoehorned Charlotte in there, and we ended up getting Becky 2 belts. Cool. That match was actually really good, and I enjoyed it. But now give us what we need. Give us the match I think could be really good. One-on-one, Becky, Ronda. Also, I do want to give a shout out to Macho T in the YouTube chat. What's going on there? But Becky, Ronda, WrestleMania, I think that's the right move to do. You could do Ronda Charlotte, especially if Ronda eliminates Charlotte and then says, hey, I threw you out of the Rumble. I bet you I could beat you one-on-one in a match as well. You can do that, and it would generate buzz, but I think there would be bigger buzz for Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey one-on-one. Again, we've seen the triple threat, but we've never seen the singles match that I think will generate a lot of buzz. I think they're two women that can go out there and do great media pub to hype up this match, hype up the show, make it the night one main event. Make it the main event of night one, and then you can go night two main eventing with the match that we're probably going to get, Brock versus Roman. So that's the latest on Ronda Rousey and her coming back to WWE. It's almost inevitable that she's going to be in town this weekend going into Raw on Monday. And the current plan, but nothing is set in stone. The current plan is Ronda Becky. Now, if Ronda wins the Rumble, do we get Ronda pointing at the sign again, just like she did in 2018 when she debuted after the Women's Royal Rumble? We get that point at the sign again. But we'll see how it goes. We'll follow this story. Again, Royal Rumble tomorrow from St. Louis, Missouri. But as we move forward, we got a little news on Triple H. What's going on with him? Again, from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer. A lot of news from Dave Meltzer today because, well, the Observer came out last night, as it usually does overnight between Thursday and Friday. But in an update to Triple H being out since having his cardiac event, we know that Triple H has not been to any NXT tapings since, I want to say it's like 3-4 weeks before they transitioned to NXT 2.0. And Shawn Michaels has been like the guy in charge over there. And the last word we heard about that was Shawn's in charge and he's reporting everything to Bruce Pritchard. Triple H, nowhere to be seen. Except back in December, WWE officials did take a tour of the current construction going on in their new office building, and Triple H was there. We have video proof that Triple H was there. Well, in an update, the Wrestling Observer newsletter does report that there are no current plans for Triple H to return to running NXT or to do any creative work in the company due to his health issues. It was noted that if his health improves and if he wants to, things can change, but the word going around right now is that his return to his previous duties is not anything that is happening imminently. We know that Triple H has done, like I said, some minor work at the WWE headquarters doing his office job, and he took the tour of the facilities in Stanford, the new one. But other than that, he hasn't done much from what we've heard. Stephanie even said that he spent a lot of time home with the family, just recovering. And hearing all of that makes me think that this cardiac event was worse than they're trying to make it seem. Because they stated, oh, yeah, hey, by the way, last week Triple H had surgery for a cardiac event. And everyone's like, whoa, what does that mean? And they kind of just brushed it off. They were telling people in the media, hey, it's not a big deal. It's a family, genetic thing that he knew he would eventually have to get taken care of. Nothing to be worried about. But if it's nothing to be worried about, then why is he not working much? Why is he not doing his day-to-day duties anymore? Why is he not at those NXT tapings, at least just to be there helping out, whether he's not in charge and Sean's in charge or whatever? It's worse. It's got to be, and this is, again, I'm not confirming anything. This is just me, and I probably shouldn't be doing this, taking what we've heard and putting together the context clues. It's got to be worse than it was, or was perceived to be initially. Again, we don't know when he can return, when we'll ever see him again on television, working backstage. And again, according to the Observer, he's done light, minor work over the last recent months at the WWE headquarters, along with taking that tour of the new facility that is under construction. So best of luck, Triple H, and whenever he can finally return. Again, we don't know exactly when that is, but hopefully he can get back to his normal duties soon. I'm going to shift a couple things around here. Usually, the last thing I talk about is the Smackdown review on a Friday, or the preview on a Friday. I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to really jump in and do a little deep dive on some of these possible names that could show up in the Rumble tomorrow. Again, I'm doing it this way, so that way if anyone doesn't want to hear these names and wants to be possibly surprised tomorrow, they can leave the podcast. They can leave, turn it off if you're watching live or watching later or listening on podcast platforms all around the globe. As far as tonight's SmackDown does go, WWE actually has already announced 4 things. Yeah, 4 things before noon on a Friday for tonight's Friday night SmackDown, as we talk about right here. First off, they have stated that Seth freaking Rollins, because that's his name now, heads to SmackDown to deliver a personal message to Roman Reigns. As far as action goes, we got a day 1 rematch. It'll be Ridge Holland and Sheamus taking on the team of Cesaro and Ricochet. In another tag team match, the New Day's Big E and Kofi Kingston will be battling Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. And finally, we do know that Naomi will go one-on-one with Sonya Deville. Now, does this match actually happen? Do we get some tomfoolery like we got before? I would say maybe, but there's a less of a chance because the match was actually made by Adam Pearce, and he stated that he went to WWE officials recommending this match actually take place. So, that's what's announced for tonight's SmackDown. Let me throw something up here on the screen, just so you guys know that we're in spoiler territory, possible spoiler territory. Give me 2 seconds to throw a spoiler graphic up on the screen, just so you guys know that we're going to talk possible spoiler talk for the Royal Rumble. And why can't I find this image now? Come on. Come on. Spoiler. Let's throw this up here in the corner. All right. So, if you want to mute me or if you want to stay, whatever, I will keep this logo here in the top left corner as we talk about Rumble spoiler stuff. When the spoiler logo goes down, that means we're done talking spoiler stuff. I'll give you guys a countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Talk the Royal Rumble and possible spoilers. So tomorrow night is the WWE Royal Rumble from St. Louis, Missouri. We've got 6 matches announced for the show. Brock Lesnar will defend the WWE title against Bobby Lashley. Roman Reigns will defend the Universal title against Seth freaking Rollins. Becky Lynch will defend the Raw Women's Championship against Doudrop. And we do know that Beth Phoenix and Edge will team up to go take on the team of Miz and Maurice. Then we got 2 Rumble matches. We got the Men's Rumble, which kind of cut and dry, no real surprises teased for that or hearing of any possibly other than one. We got the Women's Rumble. There's a lot of possible surprises and people being brought in for this match. So as far as the Men's Rumble does go, one possible spoiler would be Kurt Angle. It was reported yesterday by Fightful that former WWE champion and WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle is actually in St. Louis with WWE. Now, we do know that Conrad Thompson is doing some podcast stuff in the city. He's doing one of his live podcasts with, I want to say it's Eric Bischoff and Jeff Jarrett, but that's not why Kurt's there. Yes, Kurt has a podcast with Conrad Thompson, but he's not there for any of that stuff. He's there for WWE, apparently for community events, press events, and stuff they're filming for the WWE Network and Peacock. It's also been reported that WWE has offered Kurt Angle to return to the company as an on-screen personality. Now, that could be a spot in the Rumble and then do something non-wrestling going forward, or just something non-wrestling going forward. We don't know if Kurt has agreed to that or not, as he was released back in April of 2020 when we first saw the big first wave of mass releases over the last couple of years. So that is the one surprise possible thing, and I'm not confirming that as for sure, but it is the one possible surprise we could maybe see for the men's Rumble. As far as the women's Rumble goes, a lot of names that have been brought in for this match. So, as we first learned a couple of weeks ago, possibly Melina and Cameron could be in the Rumble, and both have been spotted in St. Louis over the last 24 hours. Also, as far as the women do go, I'm trying to remember all these, Oksana, who hasn't been in WWE for 8 years, has been spotted in St. Louis. Oksana, of all people. Not only has she not been with WWE in 8 years, she hasn't worked a wrestling match in 8 years. Her last match with WWE was Oksana. I know it was 2014, but I don't know exactly when. Oksana's last match with WWE, her last match ever, was June 10th, 2014, when she lost to Alicia Fox in a 2-minute match on Smackdown. That is the last time she's ever worked a pro wrestling match. And other names that we're hearing, Celeste Bonin, Caitlyn, who actually just basically went on Instagram and said, I'm in St. Louis. Yesterday, she posted on her Instagram story that she's on an airplane. And she does a lot of travel for her work and her workout brand and her workout clothing line and all that. So her being on a plane is nothing out of the norm when you see it on her Instagram. Now, it being this week and yesterday when a lot of people were flying in, a couple red flags of, ooh, could she be coming in? But didn't really think much of it because she's always traveling and always posting on her stories that she's traveling. Yet this morning, let's pull this up here. She actually posted this on her Instagram story. Let me pull up her Instagram story. Celeste Bonin Instagram. Posted this literally like an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours ago. So, we have this here from yesterday. Posted this one yesterday, her on an airplane. Then a picture of her and her boyfriend on that plane. Then her boyfriend, but this was 3 hours ago. She's in St. Louis at the Arch. Why would she be in St. Louis if she's not there for WWE? So that has brought up some questions of, is she going to be in the Rumble? Why is she in St. Louis? She's got a couple other things posting, in St. Louis and this and that. But that is the one big one. This one right here. She's got a picture of her, a video, whatever you want to call this, Instagram story of her at the Arc. That confirms she's in St. Louis. And I want to say, give me 2 seconds just to check any of these other ones, if there's been any more names confirmed or not. I think there was one or two more last night that were just coming in. Let me pull this up here. So we talked Cameron, we talked Melina, Celeste Bonin. It was also reported that Sarah Logan was spotted in St. Louis as well. And that could be a couple of things. Either A, WWE brought her in to possibly be in the Rumble, or she's just there with her husband, Eric of the Viking Raiders. Simple as that. Maybe she's just there with her husband. It's like, hey, we're going to St. Louis this weekend for the Rumble. She's like, oh, I want to go to St. Louis. I like St. Louis. We tag along. That could be it. Could she be in the match? Possibly. Will she? There's still 9 spots open in that match, so it is possible. But again, she could just be there visiting and with her husband, Eric. And yeah, those are all the names that we've heard so far that have been spotted in town and have not yet been announced for the Women's Royal Rumble and could possibly be in the Rumble. Again, on those names for the Women's Rumble, former Divas Champion Caitlyn, former Divas Champion Melina, Oksana, Sarah Logan, and Cameron. So those 5 names could be in the Women's Royal Rumble match. Why would they be in St. Louis? The only one that you can argue why she could be in St. Louis and not be there for the Rumble would be Sarah Logan, because, again, her husband's in the company. And they're bringing in everybody who is in the company to work, because the word going around is, just in case last minute someone catches COVID, they want as many people there as backups. So if you're signed, you're getting brought in. If you're signed and cleared, you're getting brought in for the Royal Rumble. And they're apparently bringing in extras as well. I think Dave Meltzer did report that you're going to bring in a number of NXT talent to be back up as well. I know tonight for SmackDown, we're supposed to have LA Knight, Roderick Strong, Io Shirai, and Dakota Kai all backstage as well. But those are the names that have been spotted in St. Louis and could be there for WWE and tomorrow night's Royal Rumble event. All right, guys, spoilers. We're done with them. 2 seconds here. Thomas Franco in the YouTube chat, the super chat, says, it's been reported that Bad Bunny for the Rumble tomorrow night, not fake. I don't know about that one. And the original source it came from, I don't trust. So I'm not talking about that for that reason. Because the original source it came from is usually wrong and just likes to make stuff up. I'm not going to even say who it is. You guys can gather from that who you think it is. So that's why I haven't talked about that. And if you really think about it, unless, give me 2 seconds to look something up. Because none of the major sites have... Yeah, none of the major sites have gone with that. We haven't seen that on the Wrestling Observer website. We haven't seen that on Fightful. We haven't seen that on PW Insider. We haven't seen that on Wrestling Inc. So those are the most credible websites. And if I don't see them there, and I'm already skeptical of it, I ain't talking about it or running with it, other than just to answer your super chat. I don't know where you say it's been confirmed that it's not fake. I haven't seen any of that. I haven't heard any of that. Again, that's why I'm not talking about him possibly being the Rumble. Could it happen? Sure. But am I going to report it as possible or for sure happening? No, because I think there's a less chance than there is. And could I be wrong and it does happen? Yes. It'll be cool if Bad Bunny's in the Rumble, but again, I'm not going to bet my money on it, especially where the original source of that story came from. Just like another name that same website put out that nobody else has talked about. But give me 1 quick second to look at one last thing. I think we're getting some more news coming in. Yeah, so what you're talking about is it being not fake. I see where you could think that. Let me just read this from the Wrestling Observer. All kinds of names have been thrown around, including Shane McMahon and Bad Bunny, as well as Kairi Sane, but none confirmed. So that is where that all stems from. Were you thinking it said that it's not fake? Just because Meltzer wrote it, Meltzer's just writing a bunch of stuff in the Observer. Meltzer wrote a lot in the Observer this week about possibilities for the Rumble. And so, or what am I thinking? How do I explain this? He basically said that these are names that other websites are throwing out there, but he couldn't actually confirm or deny either way. You get what I'm saying? He also states that there are also been reports from that the company has contacted others, including just like Mickie James, that have been recently released to possibly be in the Women's Royal Rumble, including Impact and Women's Tag Team Champions, The Inspirations, the former Iconic, who did decline returning to WWE for said match. So, again, a lot of possibilities for tomorrow's Royal Rumble match. I'm going to double check to see if anybody else has been announced for the match before we do wrap everything up here. Let's see. Royal Rumble 2022 names. So far, we still know of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 names for the men's Rumble. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 names official for the women's Rumble. So that is what we know so far pertaining to tomorrow's Royal Rumble premium live event. And guys, remember, it's tomorrow, Saturday, not Sunday. But with that, that's going to do it for this Friday edition of the Wrestling Wrap Up. I do want to say thank you guys for joining me here at twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and twitter.com/PW Unlimited. Remember, if you are watching live, well, come back tonight. We're going to be talking about Friday Night SmackDown. Should be an interesting SmackDown, as it is the final SmackDown before the Royal Rumble, the final WWE show before the Royal Rumble. So with that, guys, we'll see you tonight for SmackDown. We'll see you tomorrow for the Royal Rumble. Have a good